It's week 4 of the 2025 football season, and already we are forced to face the state of the Ravens, a state which many of us before the season started were quite confident would be positive, leading the NFL, leading the AFC North. But instead we find a 1-2 Ravens team with a lot of disgruntlement going on within the organization, outside of the organization. Injuries, comments from Kyle Hamilton that some fans are reacting to. A defense surprisingly ranked at the bottom of the NFL. Coaches under fire. Hot seats. So much to talk about. Today, we are going to break down exactly all the truth about the state of the Ravens. Where is it with Zach Orr and John Harbaugh? What's going on with these injuries? What's going on with these Ravens? I'm Rob Love. Welcome to One Flock. It starts right now. Let's fly.
Let's go Ravens, let's go Ravens, let's go Ravens, let's go Ravens. We are one flock, we are one flock, we are one flock, we are one flock.
Man, that song gets me so hyped. One Flock. A lot of you guys been asking about where you can find the full song of One Flock. I guess you can find that theme song on pretty much all the streaming platforms. Check it out. It's on Apple Music. It's on Spotify. It's on all of them. Just put in just like the name of the show. Number One Flock, Ravens Anthem. And you'll be banging that thing out. Manfred did his thing in there. You see, I've turned my attitude up. You see, I got a smile on my face today. Even though we haven't played another game since going 1-2, I put on the Ravens yellow today because after the dirge outfit that I wore as we were mourning our second loss of the season, I said, hey, attitude is everything. We're turning it up today. But is the future, is the state of the Baltimore Ravens as bright as this yellow shirt that I have on? Well, many would say no. If you listen to the noise around the franchise right now, around the fan base, there's a lot of disgruntlement, and understandably so. But one of the things I want to take up heads up right now, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but the comment from Kyle Hamilton. You guys know what I'm talking about. Kyle Hamilton, when interviewed earlier this year, made the statement that, and this was while he was trying to defend Zach Orr, all the heat that's coming on Zach Orr. He mentioned that he thought that some of the Ravens fans may be spoiled by the success and dominance that the Ravens defense has shown in years past. And the reaction, right away. I mean, the whole internet seemed to be burning up with Ravens fans who were angered and emotional that Kyle Hamilton dare call the fan base spoiled. The offense was instant. The offense that was taken by so many of the fans. Now, here's the question. And this is what I want to ask you, and you guys hear me out on this. Was what Kyle Hamilton said wrong? Well, before I address that, I want to ask you this. Are there any of you out there that dislike being spoiled? I'm going to tell you me, for one, I love being spoiled. Listen, let me tell you something. I remember when I was dating and I would ask, someone what they, how they like to treat their man, right? And it was not an uncommon thing where females would be like, I like to spoil my man. I spoil my man. I cook for him. I have your bath water ready. I'll rub his feet. I was like, woo, right? Is there any man out there that if a woman said that she was going to spoil you, that you would be like, how dare you say or for those of you who already have a wife, would you be mad if she spoiled you? Or if someone simply acknowledged that if she did, I spoil my husband. Would that be offensive to you? I can tell you now, not me. I like to be spoiled. I enjoy being spoiled, And women, same way, if a guy spoils his woman, gets her the things she likes, spoils her with nice outings and vacations and dolls her up, is that a bad thing? Is being spoiled a bad thing? I'm going to say no. By the definition of being spoiled, what does it mean? It means you are giving an abundance of things that a person really likes to them, showering them with positive gifts. Well, by that definition, has the Baltimore defense been spoiling the Ravens fans? I would have to say yes. We've been extremely spoiled. We've been the envy of the rest of the NFL as far as defense goes for years. We have been showered with a plethora of Hall of Fame level talents. We've had the Ray Lewises. We've had the Ed Reeds. You know, we have been able to really, the Terrell Suggs. Look at what we've had versus the rest of the NFL for years. You look back over the last 10, 15 years, the Ravens have lived in the top tier of defense. You know how many NFL franchises wish they could say that? So if someone tells me that we've been spoiled, showered with great defense after great defense, I would have to agree and say yes, and I'm happy that we have. In fact, we're not just being spoiled now with that, we're now being spoiled with the best quarterback in the game and one of the most high-powered offenses in the game. I like being spoiled that way too. So that being the case, why the offense? Well, I'll tell you why. It's not because Kyle Hamilton said anything that was a dig at the fans. I don't think he meant it that way. What he said is true. But he should have kept that comment to himself. Because right now, the frustration of the fans, and this is the frustration of the fans, has nothing to do with what we're used to having. It has everything to do with what we have right now, which is the worst defense in the NFL. Let me say that again. The worst defense in the NFL is what we have right now. Number 32. We've given up more points through 3 weeks than any defense in the NFL. That's why the fans are upset. And that's why Kyle Hamilton's comment, though true, the Ravens have been spoiled. We wouldn't have received that comment as negative, as a dig on the fan base, if he was making that comment while we were the number one defense. If he made that same comment, none of us would have taken offense. We would have been like, that's right, we are spoiled. We got the number one defense again. But he made that statement at a time when one of the highest paid defensive units in the country, a unit on which he is, I think, either the highest or second highest paid player on that defense. He started talking about the fans being spoiled. Not good timing, Kyle. You know, for those of you who aren't in a relationship, keep this and take it with you. This is one of the most important things you'll ever learn. If you know this already, you know what I'm talking about. If you have been messing up, if you are the person right now that has messed up and you know you're messing up and you're being confronted about it, there's only one thing that you need to be talking about in that moment, because if you talk about anything else but that, you're going to make it worse. You're going to get you're going to make an already emotional situation where you're messing up even worse. If you're wrong, here's what you do. You own the wrong, you apologize for the wrong, and you commit to doing better. You only do that if you're interested in having a good outcome to the conversation and being progressive. If you can master that, your relationships would be amazing. Well, Kyle Hamilton obviously isn't married because it showed when he gave this interview. He got off, you got off topic, Kyle. You got off topic. Don't talk to me about how spoiled I've been when you just messed up some stuff. All right? Just talk to me about, I messed up, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get it together, you deserve better. Boom! And guess what? The relationship will be intact. And so again, I'm not one of these people, I'm not overreacting like a lot of people are, because again, we're all emotional, right? But sometimes on both sides, we gotta take the emotions out of it and not read more into something. Let's not read too much. Kyle's 20, what is he, 22, 23? I don't know what he is. We're reading too much into what the kid said. He used the word spoiled, which is not a dig. It was just poorly used. He should not have talked about that in that moment. So Kyle, keep playing, man. We know you're gonna get it together. If you hear this, just remember, you weren't wrong. We have been spoiled, and we want to continue to be spoiled. That's why we're paying you a lot of money to continue to spoil us with the best defensive play out there. You guys get it together. So that's the first thing. We got that done. Now, what else is going on with the state of the Ravens right now? Well, we know that there are some major concerns about our guy, our flock member, Nnamdi Madubuike. First of all, I want to say this right now. This is one of the most important things that I'm going to say. This is the most important thing I'm going to say on this episode. Nnamdi Madubuike, listen, brother. It's funny. It was just maybe 12 days ago. My uncle sent me a video to watch, and it was you getting the phone call from Eric DaCosta on draft night, and you were there with your family, and you started crying, and your family was hugging up, and it was really a feel-good video. Those of you out there, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. We forget sometimes where some of these kids come from and how this opportunity changes their lives and the emotions that it puts them through and how much they're laying on the line. And right now, this very talented young man, we don't know what's wrong with him, but we do know it's a neck injury. And we're talking about necks. That's one of the it doesn't get more serious. When you talk about neck, spine, head, those are three of the most serious areas you can have an injury. And we don't know what the details are, but the hush-hush nature of this whole conversation lends to the belief that it could be serious. We don't know how serious. I don't want to be pessimistic. I don't want to be overly optimistic, but I do want to be empathetic. And for myself, the rest of One Flock, Nnamdi, prayers for your full recovery, prayers for you to and this isn't just about football or the Ravens. This is about you, your family and health. Want you to get better, want you to be great. And then, of course, we'd love to have you back so you can help us be great too. But prayers and best wishes off to you and your family. I do believe that the fact that we haven't heard much about this and that today he was put on IR, that is a quantification of the fact that it is serious. 4 weeks, they're saying for sure. But also it gives us a bit of a chance for some optimism, because the fact that they put him on IR says that whatever's going on right now, they still believe it may not be season ending or, as many of us feared, potentially career ending, as it was for Zach Orr when he suffered some type of injury in that same chain. So that's the state right now of what's going on with Nnamdi Madubuike, and we will keep you updated if we hear anything else about that. But get well, bro. Get well. And that's not the only player that got put on IR today. We also heard that another member of the Ravens has been put on IR. Washington. He's on IR now. So we're losing pieces. We still have Patrick Ricard that has been missing now. This will be his 4th week missing. A big concern on injury with Ronnie Stanley. He's been a limited participant. Our offensive line has been getting a lot of heat because of its porous nature. An offensive line that has been so porous that in one game, I believe there were 35 dropbacks that Lamar Jackson took, and he was pressured on 30 of them. So even with Ronnie Stanley on the field, that's how porous this offensive line has been. But if Ronnie Stanley is not on the field, if he can't suit up, and we got to play against Chris Jones and company at the Chiefs this weekend, could be tough. The offensive line really having the injury bug is really biting us right now. Still questions about whether Jair Alexander and his knee will be ready to play. We've got some groin injuries that have been bothering our corners. This defense is really suffering right now. And so the injuries are something that could be a contribution, and no doubt is a contribution as to how the performance has been, but not enough for it to be the worst in the NFL. There's so much talent on this defense. No amount of injuries that we've had is reason for us to be underperforming in the way that we are, to be the worst defense in the NFL. But we continue to move on, addressing the state of the Ravens. We know that we have the issues with the offensive line and defensive line from injuries, but something else that there's been a lot of conversation about is our season. Is the season over? Well, let me tell you, it is not. Thus the yellow shirt, the bright beaming glow of optimism that I still hold for this team. Let's keep in mind, yes, we do have the 32nd ranked out of 32 teams. Those of you who didn't know the significance of that, there are only 32 NFL teams. We're the 32nd. Our offense is number one. Number one. That's right. We have the number one rated offense through 3 weeks. In fact, we also have the number one quarterback through 3 weeks. No surprise there with Lamar Jackson. What is surprising is that having the number one offense and the number one quarterback and scoring as many points as we've scored with the number one scoring offense out there, averaging nearly 40 points a game. It's the first time in history that a team who has done that through 3 weeks has a losing record. 1-2 Ravens are the first team to ever do that. So yes, while we could and should be very concerned about our bottom tier defense at this stage, let's remember we still got a lot of big names and a lot of big talent on that defense, and we should be expecting it to get better. More about that later. But meanwhile, we have the number one offense, and you can't give up on a season this early when your offense is clicking better than everybody else in the NFL, better than everyone else. Let's realize something, that were it not for a total meltdown against the Bills in that first game, giving up a 15-point lead with 4 minutes left, we'd have a very different conversation right now. We'd be 2-1. We'd be saying, okay, well, we lost to a very good Detroit team. Detroit beat us. We could have done some things better, but we wouldn't be giving up on the season. And that's one reason why you shouldn't give away games, as we frequently seem to do to the Buffalo Bills. You can't give away wins that you pretty much have in the bag, and then you go, no, we don't want it. Here you go. Like we did to the Buffalo Bills. You can't give away those games because that's how you end up 1-2. But let's not overreact. The state of the Ravens, we still have reason to believe that this team can go far. In fact, even all the way, if we figure out what to do on defense and these injuries can figure out what to do with them, because we have the number one offense and because we have Lamar Jackson. So there's that. And speaking of Lamar Jackson, what is the state of Lamar Jackson? Well, we talked about it. Lamar Jackson, he's on his way to another MVP if he keeps going like he's doing now. He is number one quarterback. Most touchdowns, best passing efficiency, highest quarterback rating. I think right now is 140 something. His yards per throw better than everybody out there. And what's most impressive about that, again, is that he's doing all that with one of the worst offensive line performances out there. A porous line, being pressured that much. Just think about it. If that offensive line gets shored up, which it has to, wow. And one more thing I need to address about Lamar Jackson, because I've really been a lot of comments. I've had to talk to a couple of people back and forth on this one, but I just want to put this one out here. A lot of people want to keep bringing up, and I've seen other show hosts bringing up and wasting their conversation and our viewing by talking about Lamar Jackson's tendency to hold on to the ball in situations where he should probably tuck and run or throw it. And the reason I say wasting their conversation, wasting their reporting, and wasting our attention is because, well, let's talk about what it's not for. It's not because Lamar Jackson doesn't sometimes hold on to it, looking for a pass when he would probably be better off running. It's not because sometimes he doesn't step back from the snap a little bit too deep, too far back, leaving himself open. It's not because of any of that. All of that can be true. But I like to use examples, illustrations. Let me illustrate it this way. If there had been a terrible plane crash, and you turned on the news to see what they were saying about the plane crash, what caused it, what went wrong, and you turned on and you saw the reporter sitting up there talking about that some of the seats in economy did not recline like they were supposed to. What? Why are they talking about seat malfunctions for reclining when the big news is a plane crashed? There's absolutely no relationship between malfunctioning reclining button on a economy seat and this plane crash. That would be the worst reporting. Doesn't mean that the seats weren't malfunctioning. Okay, if they were, so what? It has nothing to do with the real problem. I say that to say this. Why are you talking about Lamar Jackson's the number one quarterback, the number one rated quarterback in all the NFL? Why are you talking about his what he can tweak and what he can be better with, as if that's the reason why we're crashing on the runway through 3 games? That is not why. So quit trying to make it about him. The state of Lamar Jackson is what it is. That's the news story. The news story is, yes, the Ravens are having blah on the runway, crashing. But it's not because of, Lamar Jackson, his reclining seat is, stop. Lamar Jackson is the number one quarterback in the NFL through 3 weeks. Now, if you want to talk about the problems and us losing, let's talk about that. But I've had enough of people wasting my ears and wasting your viewing when we're concerned about what we're concerned about. We ain't concerned about Lamar Jackson's performance. We're concerned about all these other problems that are contributing big time to our 1-2 start. I'll move on now. Derrick Henry, state of the Ravens. He's fumbled. 2 of them in big situations. Every game he's fumbled. This has never happened in Derrick Henry's career. Time to get too worried? I don't think so. But I think it's very important. Derrick, understand this, King. This moment right here in week 4, when you're going up against Chris Jones and them boys, understand everybody on that defense has been marking on their chalkboard this week. Try to swipe the ball out of Derrick Henry's hand. It's blood in the water, man. Everybody's seen what you've shown them on tape. If you don't clear this up, and it's going to take not just one game, it's going to take 2, 3, 4 games of Derrick Henry dominance, protecting the ball, no fumbles, for them to forget this whole let's just target and everybody and their mama swiping at trying to punch the ball out of your hands. They're coming for you. The blood is in the water. You've put it out there. Go on and fix that, King. That's the state of the current situation. But I got full confidence. I have full confidence, and you need to have that confidence too that you can do it. Protect the ball. You've been doing it for years. Keep on doing it. All right, so we got that taken care of. What else is the state of the Ravens? Well, we got a big game coming up. A unique situation, because normally when we're going against Kansas City, it's 2 contenders for the AFC, 2 teams that everybody's talking about who, is going to win the division or who's going to go to the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, 2 of the biggest names ever in the NFL. Well, that statement's still true, but as far as clinching divisions and Super Bowls, that conversation is kind of going hush because both the Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs find themselves surprisingly with losing records coming into week 4, both of them playing to avoid that ever-dreaded 1-3 start because according to the numbers, NFL teams who have started with 1 win and 3 losses, historically have only made it to the playoffs 11% of the time. That means whichever one of these teams, Kansas City or the Ravens, that loses this Sunday, they have a 9 out of 10 chance of missing the playoffs. For those of you who weren't good at math, that's a really high chance of missing the playoffs. Yeah. That is the state. And that seriousness of the state that we're in, the Ravens going on the road in that situation should have this team really dialed in. But what's interesting is Kansas City Chiefs, coached by Andy Reid, with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback, they're going to have that same knowledge and that same focus, which is why I do believe this is going to be an energetic, passionate, desperation type game. And we'll be talking about that more in tomorrow's preview episode, so we won't get too much into that right now. But let's get on to these coaches, because coaches is a big part of what everyone's talking about with the current state. A lot of the attention, and deservedly so. I do believe that the hot seat should be on. Absolutely. The hot seat should be on. A roster loaded up with this type of talent, being 1-2 to start the season. Not just that, but some of the other things we'll talk about too. But I will say this. With the hot seat being on, hot seat button is on, Haubaugh, Zach Orr, there is a certain amount of patience that is required too. I do believe more patience is required at this point for Zach Orr than there is for John Harbaugh. And I will explain right now. Let's first look at John Harbaugh. His patience leash has gotten very short. The reason why, John Harbaugh has been around and we've got to witness him lose more double-digit leads in the 4th quarter than any coach in history. 17 at this point, I believe is what the number is, unless he's already pushed it to 18. That's an extended reputation that has required. You didn't get to 17 victories thrown away in the 4th quarter without using a lot of patience. You didn't do it, back to back to back. You don't get to 17 big leads given up in the 4th quarter without using up a lot of patience. So Harbaugh's patience leash has gotten very short. We've seen him in big situations make questionable calls. I mean, who all could ever forget when we played the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC Championship? They had one of the top passing defenses in the league, the Kansas City Chiefs did. They had one of the worst rushing defenses. We had the number one rushing offense. Everyone knew that the Ravens were going to run that ball. Number one rushing offense was going to punish the Kansas City Chiefs' mediocre to bad rushing defense. But no. In that game, Haubaugh decided to abandon the run and almost pass exclusively. I think we only called 8 plays for our running backs the entire game. We've seen that kind of decision-making from Harbaugh. Punting the ball so that Josh Allen could have a minute and a half to score a field goal, get in field goal range, instead of giving it to your offense, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, to get 3 yards on a 4th down. These type of decisions we've seen John Harbaugh make over and over and over and over again, and the patience is getting. So yes, hot seat, short leash. Let's look at Zach Orr, though. What is great coaching? When is coaching most important? When would you say coaching is most important? Here's what I think. I think coaching shows itself to be most important when the talent level or the situation is less than ideal. I'll give you an example. If you have an all-star team, if I gave you a roster of all the top talent, you have the number one player at every position on defense and offense, and you won a game and you were the coach, how much of the credit do you think they're going to give you as the coach? Not much. Everyone's going to say you should have won. You had all the best players, all the best, right? Let's switch that around. Let's say that you have the worst players in the league and you're playing against superior talent and you win. Now, how much credit do you get for the win as the coach? You get a lot. Because everyone knows you should not have won that game, but somehow you pulled it out through your coaching. The reason I say that is because Zach Orr has only been, he's got 1 year under his belt. What did we see in that year? Well, we saw a year with defensive challenges. First challenge was new system, new coach, new fit. Not only that, but he had Marcus Williams, right? We know the problem he became. Had problems with personnel. Brandon Stevens and his limitations. There were problems. And those problems showed up right away when the Ravens had the worst passing defense in the country. But what did we see happen? By the end of the year, the Ravens' worst passing defense in the country was the best passing defense in the country. To me, that reeks of some great coaching somewhere, right? Now, maybe that was a fluke. Maybe that was a fluke. It was his first year. He's only got 1 year. But that's why I say he needs patience. Because if his coaching, figuring out how to work with what he had and still and get better, he did that in the first year. So that has earned him the right for us to see if he can do it in the second year. We certainly can't be out on Zach Orr after 3 weeks when he's shown in his only year of coaching that he can get it turned around. This year, I think we find out if that was a fluke. But let's see. His patience leash, if I can talk, is longer than Harbaugh's. And that's the state of that. Now, we've covered the state of the Ravens, the state of Lamar Jackson. We covered the state of the coaches. There's only one state that we can talk about now. And that's the state of One Flock. My goodness, guys. You guys have been amazing. Big round of applause and a huge thank you to all of you. I don't know if you noticed, but you guys pushed us. We're brand new, and you guys have pushed us to now being a full partner with YouTube. We have over 1,000 subscribers. The love has been overwhelming, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've always said none of us fly alone. We fly together, and you guys have proven that is so true. I cannot thank you enough. A lot of people have been asking about when we're going to get the merch store open because a lot of you have been saying how much you love the logo. That logo is fire, right? That One Flock logo is fire. The merch store will be open. Lots of great stuff. And we'll be able to get you on there. The memberships are open now. You guys, if you hadn't gotten in on the memberships, make sure you check that out. Lots of stuff coming up. Really, really excited. But I have to tell you, thank you, thank you. I really humbled by the response and the support. So those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. Those of you who have been back, welcome back again too. We do have our next episode coming up, working on it. It will be dropping very shortly. The preview for the Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens Desperation Showdown. We'll break down everything about what we should expect in that game. So be on the lookout for that. But for this episode of One Flock, and the state of the Ravens is good. You understand? We're not done. We're not beat down. We just had a little rough start. But it's time to fly. So you know what we're going to do. 1,100 plus subscribers. Can't believe it so much, guys. Next goal, 2,000. And the way you guys are showing love, we'll get there soon. We starting off with baby steps, but we know how to fly, baby. We know how to fly. For One Flock, I'm Rob Love. Remember, if there's somebody out there that needs a little bit more love in their life, go on and give it to them for me. And remember, there's one thing you can do to make somebody else's day better. Go on and do it. And of course, my last words. You know what they are. Thanks for flying with a brother. See you next episode. Let's go, Ravens.
We take the field as one flock. Come on, Ravens, here we go as one flock. We keep grinding till we soar to the top. Come on, Ravens, here we go as one flock. We keep grinding till we soar to the top. Let's go, Ravens. Let's go, Ravens. Let's go, Ravens. Let's go, Ravens. We are one flock. We are one flock. We are one flock. We take the field as one flock.
Everything out of me. They gonna get a Super Bowl out of me.